It's your girl, LaTonia Monroe Naylor, your Mission-Rich business consultant, here with another Tea and Talk Tuesday. And yes, my mug of the week is right on time. It's He has made everything beautiful in its time, from Ecclesiastes 3:11. And let me tell you why it's on time, because the topic of today is funding readiness is a strategy and not a vibe. Okay. So many times people are thinking about when they're preparing to increase their funding for their business, for their nonprofit, even for their churches, whatever it is that they're doing. They think, oh, let's go with the latest trend. Let's see what everybody is doing. Y'all will often hear me pick on YouTubers and people on Instagram and Reels and TikTok, because a lot of times people are doing things for likes and views, not because they are giving you sufficient information that is realistic. They'll say things that are general, they'll say things that are not applicable to you. And if you don't know any better, because you don't have an expert that you're working with, you will go along with whatever that they say. And then you think it's okay. But we're not going to dig into all of the things that people believe that they shouldn't believe. But today we're specifically talking about funding and strategy, and understanding that, like I said, it is just not a vibe. It's not just a thing you feel like doing because everybody else is saying it works, or everybody else, whatever. No, it's really about what is best for you, what is best for your organization, what is best for your own values that you have, because you don't want to compromise your values in order to access funding, and then later on find out that you're not happy with yourself. Okay? I'm not going to get into that, but I want you to think about it. And so some of the things that people talk about, why this topic is so important, is, I keep applying for grants and getting denied, and I don't know why. I've been running programs, but funders say I'm still not ready. It feels like funders only give to established organizations, not startups like mine. I feel overwhelmed by the financial side of things, budgeting, compliance, and reporting. So if any of those resonate with you, if you feel like, yeah, girl, you talking to me, sis, I hear you, then I want you to really pay attention to what we're going to talk about today. All right. So the first tip that I really want to point out to you is, you're not ready for funding if your mission is unclear. Now, we're going to talk about strategy after strategy after strategy. When you work with me, when you hear me talk, when you hear me training, I'm always talking about strategy, because if you're not already thinking about and writing out what your plan is, making it plain, then you are not going to achieve the goals that you have. A lot of times we dream big, and you don't want to just be known as a dreamer who's not able to bring things to pass. You want to be a visionary. And that's what I do. I work with visionaries. I empower them to achieve purpose, balance, and profitable impact. Okay? And the reason why and the way that I'm able to do that is because strategy is at the base of everything that I do. Okay? So you're not ready for funding if your mission is unclear. And the reason why your mission is probably unclear is because you probably don't know why you're doing it. You might have decided that it was something great. You might have woke up one day and said, hey, this is something that I want to do, but why? And when you talk about why, how do you make it clear in a way that folks who hear the mission can feel the mission, can see the mission, and relate to your mission? And if that is not happening, you will get denied grant after grant, because funders fund what they can understand, and funders fund what they can see, and they fund what they can relate to and see how it's going to give them a return in their investment. And quite frankly, when people are funding a nonprofit, they know their return is not money. Their return is mission being achieved, mission impact happening, and they're able to see that because they donated, because they've invested, because that's what they're doing when they donate to you, when they give you a grant, they're investing in your mission, they're investing in your vision, that they see something transpire because of that. And if that's not going to happen, or they can't see how it's going to happen, they're not going to fund you. Okay? I don't care how many times you ask ChatGPT to put in a specific response to a grant application. All right? So funders need trust, clean financials. Let me break this down really quickly. They need clean financials, good governance, and a track record. Okay, that does not mean that you have to be doing it forever. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that when we talk about startups. But what it means is that you understand the importance of making it clear of what's coming in and what's going out, whether it's in-kind, whether it's cash flow, whether it's whatever way that you're getting it, you're able to track that, you're able to show that, and then you're able to show where it went. If they can't trust that you can do that well, they are not going to give you money. Ask yourself, if somebody came and tried to borrow money from you and you knew that they spend their money carelessly, they go on trips all the time, they always have shut off notices on their door, would you lend them money thinking that you're actually going to get it back? Probably not. So if you know that in the natural dealing with people, why would you expect a funder to fund your business and they can't see that you have the ability to manage your income and your expenses? And they need to see a track record of it. And again, it doesn't mean you have to be doing this for years, but it does mean either you're proving it with your business or you're proving it with yourself. Okay. That you can show with yourself that you've done this effectively, even if you're just now starting your business. And then the governance piece is going back to your board. They're always going to ask you who's on your board, what are their credentials, and why are they on your board? So no, you don't just pick your cousin and your sister and whoever your best friend was in high school to be on your board just because they said yes. You got to make sure if they run them, are they going to find some stuff about them that you don't want them to know? And if it's part of your alignment of your mission, then you don't care if they run their backgrounds or whatever and they find out things about them because it's alignment with your business, right? Your mission. So I just want to make sure that it's clear for you because at the end of the day, again, we think nonprofit and we think run it any kind of way. Nobody cares. We're just pulling it together. We're piecemealing it. We're using duct tape and glue. Sorry, you may be using duct tape and glue, but everybody ain't supposed to know that. Okay? Everybody's not supposed to know this what you're doing because it's going to be a presence that even with this duct tape and glue, we are managing to do X, Y, Z, and we're managing to have this kind of capacity and impact. And when you give us money, imagine what we're going to be able to do because this is what we're doing with this. Okay? The next piece is starting with aligned funding. Start with aligned funding. I call this ambulance chasing. That's what they call it in the nonprofit world. Like, don't chase money just because it's available. If it doesn't align with what you are doing, you are not going to get funding. And if by accident you get funding, it's going to pull you away from your mission. So the things that you want to do, you're not going to be able to do. So why are you chasing dollars just to have money coming in to say you got the money? Chase aligned dollars if you're going to chase money. Chase money that aligns with your stuff, but you won't know that if you don't know your mission and if it's not clear. Okay? Last but not least, and this is the one that I really, really like to focus on, is grant writing. Grant writing does not equal funding strategy. You need structure, story, and systems. Say it with me. Systems. Who likes systems? People don't like systems. They're like, I just did this because I wanted to start, helping dogs. I just did this because I care about people who are homeless. I did this because there are people who are hungry and I want to make sure that they eat. Why do I care about a system? The reason why you got to care about a system is because the person that's giving you the money, they care about systems. And if you don't have one, they ain't giving you no money, okay? And it doesn't mean that you have to be the one to understand and how to do all these things. That's why I keep stressing to you. Be intentional about who you bring on your board. Be intentional about who you bring in as staff. Be very intentional about who you bring in as volunteers. Because what you want to do is make sure that you know that even if you can't do it, somebody can do it. When we started our organization, our nonprofit, my most recent baby that I helped to birth, we made the decision very intentionally to bring in an attorney, to bring in CPAs and stuff. And because they loved our mission, they didn't join our board, but they gave us pro bono services. And then when we finally started getting money, they actually charged us a fraction of what they would have charged anybody else. Again, to make sure that we were able to have the right support and that we were guided in the right direction. But they knew what we could afford and what we couldn't afford. But because we were clear on our mission, they were able to support it. They were able to be enrolled in it. They were like, yes, I want to be a part of this greatness. Because if you can do that with those pennies, only imagine what we could do with thousands or hundreds of thousands, right? And so that's how we were able to go from a $500 budget to a over $500,000 budget, almost nearing $1 million in less than 6 years. Oh, and did I mention we bought a commercial building worth almost $1 million? And we were able to do that because we had systems, we had good governance, okay? We had things in place and we had strategy and intention. And your girl was at the helm of it as the visionary to make sure that we all were staying focused on what the end goal was. But let me tell you what we did. We had a strategy that was documented. We brought in an expert who was able to help us. This is how I know experts matter. This is why when I tell you coaching matters, because why learn something in 20 years that you can learn in 6 months if you had somebody with you that learned it in 20 years, right? So as we get ready to wrap up, I just want to encourage you, you do not have to be doing this for years to get funding. Like I told you, we had an organization that was around for 6 years and was able to get an almost $1 million building that was able to access over millions of dollars over those 6 years because of a clear mission, a clear strategy, clear systems, strong systems, and people that were willing to do the work to make sure that those things happen. And yes, mistakes get made along the way, but I'd rather make mistakes that are that are invariable. You know, the things that you can't plan for, like having administrations shut down funding dollars that nobody anticipated would ever happen. Like those things are unprecedented and those things are variables that you can't control. But the things that you can control, let's make sure that we have systems in place to ensure we have longevity and sustainable impact. So if you with me, hit me up. I'll see you soon. I look forward to talking to you. And always, you know, Mission-Rich and Profit Power is always there for you, so you can check that out as well. I love chatting with you every week. I love making sure that I'm bringing some more attention to the things that really matter for you to be successful. And I don't want you to forget, funding readiness is not a vibe, it's a strategy.